Good Monday morning, meteorologist Jacob Wycoff, joined by our executive weather producer Terry Eliasen. Thanks for joining us here on CBS News Boston and on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe so you get more videos just like this and a stream of all the amazing content that we put out here at WBZ. Terry, first of all, kids back to school today.
Well, unless they have the flu, which one of mine might have. But yes, we're back in action. The traffic was back this morning. They're not completely back, but I think the good news is that we have a very relatively, considering where we've been, a quiet week coming up.
It has been an active February,
yes.
Especially temperature-wise. But first, we want to start not so much on the ground, but in the
Let's
sky,
talk about, we have
sky.
even more good news, not just warm weather, but we have, actually, this may be the best news of all.
Yeah.
For those that have been following the sort of the Asteroid 2024 YR4 story. I think, was it last week or the week before?
Last week, yeah.
Alyssa and I were on with a professor from MIT, and he was saying basically like, we'll get more data soon. You know, it's probably not something to be concerned about. But at the time, I believe it was like a 1 in 35 or so chance of impact, which to me is too high.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know.
That's a 3% chance.
3% chance is too high for me. And again, it's going to make this closest pass in the year 2032. But take a look at that. The update just in the over the weekend, it went from 1 in 30 something to now 1 in 61,728. So that's basically a 0 on the threat scale. So it went from a 3 to a 0, and I think we can safely put this one to bed.
Do you have any caution yourself in saying, like, all right, it swung from 3% to less than 0% in a matter of a few days?
Right.
I think it still bears watching over the coming,
So I think
coming years, really.
In talking to the professor, he basically said that apparently they used some ground-based telescopes to get a better reading on the asteroid, its velocity, its where it's heading, and they were basically able to make the determination that, again, it's still not it's not 0, it's 1 in 61,000, right? But essentially, they've been able to, all but rule it out for any sort of impact here. So that's pretty good news.
There we go. Things are looking up.
That's a good way to start the work week, and we're not going to get hit by an asteroid in the year 2032, at least not this one.
Yes. We do have something pretty cool happening in the sky, though, this week. It's a planetary alignment. We kind of talked about it, I think in January we had one of these too. But this is pretty cool because you'll be able to see many of our planets. Some of them you'll have to use a telescope or binoculars to see, but you'll see basically almost all the planets in the sky.
Essentially all of them, yeah. If you don't count Pluto, right, which I guess we don't anymore. It's so sad.
Speak for yourself.
This is what's called like a grand alignment, which is basically all 7, not including Earth, all 7 are able to be seen. And the next time this is actually going to happen is, I believe, in like another 10 years. So it's a fairly rare event. But keep in mind, like you just said, you're not going to be able to see them all with the naked eye. Obviously, so Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, the ones that we typically see here, yes, you'll be able to see them. But first off, a note on Saturn is going to be setting really early. So that's the first sort of hard part is
hindrance,
Saturn. Right, so this is just after sunset on Friday particularly is when these planets will be aligned the best. Saturn may be setting really early, so that's going to be tough. Neptune and Uranus are so far out there, you really got to use a telescope. But nonetheless, it's kind of cool. If you're an astronomer or even like sort of just have a telescope at home, you might want to check it out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kind of a cool scene. But for those that just have the naked eye and don't have the aid of a telescope, you can go out Friday after sunset and you'll be able to see the crescent moon with at least Mercury, Saturn, and Venus. So anyways, it's just kind of a cool thing going on later this week in the sky.
Absolutely. And as we close out the month on Friday, it's very likely that we stay below average for the month of February. You saw that just intense cold that was around last week. It's been a chilly winter thus far where December, January, February all running well below average. And the last time that we had the winter season, so 3 straight months below average, was 11 years ago. It's become increasingly harder and harder. Yeah. You just throw in 1 month that's above average, that throws that off, right? Yeah. So to have 3 straight months in the season below average was 11 years ago. And February, pretty intensely cold.
Yeah, and so we will have 4 or 5 near to above normal days this week, but it will not be enough to, we'll certainly probably be down maybe around 2 below for the month or something. We'll get that 3.2 down a little bit, but it'll still end up being a below average month. But here's the stat of this week. So currently today is the 55th straight day in Boston without hitting the 50-degree mark, and that's the longest such streak since 2003 when we made it 60 days. So this is the big. It's kind of like the 50-degree mark has been so hard. We haven't hit it yet this year. The last time we did was December 31st of 2024, but we're gonna do it. I'm pretty confident. It's not gonna be an all-out, it's gonna be close.
It's not gonna be 70s,
right?
But
I do think that Boston, if not tomorrow, then Wednesday or Thursday, will probably get there. I mean, maybe even all 3 days. So that's something to say.
And I think that kind of speaks, the persistent cold that we've kind of in our minds felt. We look outside, we see the snow that fell weeks ago sticking around. Sometimes you get those thaws. It just hasn't really happened.
Right.
And we're going to kind of break that as we go into the next few days. Today, it's already feeling milder out. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be in the upper 40s, low 50s. We're going to be in the neighborhood of that 50-degree mark. So one of those days, to Terry's point, we will likely tap it.
Even yesterday, the highs were in the upper 30s near 40. At my house, the sun, just the 40 degrees, the sun hitting the driveway, I was able to sort of carve out about 75% of the iceberg that was in my driveway.
Yes.
Just throwing chunks into the backyard. So, and that was with it was probably 38 when I was doing it. So another 10 degrees with good sunshine. I think it's going to be a vast difference between today and say the end of the week with the snowpack, the ice pack, and all that. And again, just with the sun angle now being like a mid-October sun angle, really does help to go to work on any ice and snow.
We're definitely in sun angle season when it comes to those things. And it's also going to be a factor in any future snowfall forecasting that we have to do, perhaps in the month of March, that we have to factor in how much that just more intense sun is going to kind of melt things. So as far as our snow depth forecast goes, to Terry's point, we're going to not only get that stronger sun angle, we're going to get the milder temperatures and look at it just kind of erode away.
Look at that.
Over the next 5 days.
Now, this is a model forecast, so you can't take it precisely, but I think it's, by this weekend, I think most folks, certainly inside of 495, there's going to be nothing left. And outside of 495, it'll be patchy. I think they'll
shadows.
Exactly. And where it's not in direct sunlight, you'll see sort of some snow mounds. The direct sun areas will be void of snow, and it really be pushed all the way back to central and northern New England to have the really good snowpack. So that's all it takes. 1 week of late February snow, sun angle, and 40s and near 50, and then the snow is going to go bye-bye. And as for any weather this week, there's really not any major storms. We're not at this point anticipating any weather alerts, which is
just a couple of shower chances, like Tuesday, perhaps a couple of sprinkles here or there. I think a better chance as we go into Thursday timeframe that we could be talking about a few showers. You see some waves of passing clouds. Here's Thursday. Watch Wednesday, we're dry, we build some clouds. Thursday could be a little bit of snow to start in northern New England, but then pretty much everyone goes over to some rain as mild air spills in, and then we're a little bit cooler for the weekend, but otherwise it's mainly dry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only sort of, I don't want to call it bad news, but the only sort of downer is that, the 50s don't stay around for the weekend. So it's definitely going to be a colder, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, be back to, so we average low 40s right now. It'll probably be back to around there, maybe a little cooler. But still no major storms, and you'll notice the L's, the lows, are coming out from Canada again. So last week or the last couple of weeks when we had all those storms, the southern jet kind of got involved, and we got some juicier, more moisture. Now it's kind of like we're back to the quick moving little quickies that come out of Canada, zip through, a couple of rain snow showers, and we move on. So a much quieter pattern ahead. But again, it's not going to, unfortunately, the mild wear, it's not going to stick around in the long term. We get that cold dip at the end of the week. As you can see, going into the weekend, another sort of round of cold. So it's not as if we're just sort of like, that's it, winter's over. There is still some cold to be had. And if you've lived in New England any length of time, you know that March can be a very fickle month.
Very volatile.
We certainly wouldn't rule out, I would not say we're anywhere, I wouldn't rule out any more snow. We certainly, have some chances ahead. And this, in fact, the 6 to 10 day forecast is for slightly below average temperatures. So.
Okay, so we'll enjoy the milder air while it lasts. But yeah, to Terry's point, I think there are some indications that March may start out on the cooler side of things. So that's just next week. That's a week from now,
right.
That we could see some of those cooler temperatures. Here's the 7-day forecast. Notice Saturday, Sunday as we have the first weekend in the month of March. We're back into the upper 30s, but leading up to then, mild temperatures, mid to upper 40s to near 50 degrees. Chance for a shower on Tuesday. Better chance as we go into Thursday.
Safe to say we haven't seen a 7-day that looks like that since sometime in maybe December, November, December. There's multiple 50-degree potential. I mean, even multiple 40s. It's been a while.
It has been a long time.
So we're making progress.
Slowly but surely.
And we're
That's all we can ask for.
2 weeks from yesterday, we turn the clocks ahead and we spring forward. So
spring forward, yep.
That to me is when, okay, now we're, sunset is nearing 7 p.m. You can get home and maybe go for a walk after dinner.
Yep.
That's when I feel like spring's really here.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in to this edition of Jacob and Terry's Weather Chat. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos just like this. For now, be safe, everyone.